It works nicely. We are live. We are live and
Yeah.
direct. Guys, we're going to be talking about the war on masculinity, the attack on masculinity. And if you don't see it, then I think that you're blind. There's a serious agenda to weaken men. And this is an old military tactic. I've talked about it many times on different videos and in different interviews. And I'm going to keep speaking about it because it's something that we have to really get a hold of and recognize how important it is that we as men really step up our game and recognize what it means to be a man. And there's many different debates even around that. What does it mean to be a man? And I've been setting up some Instagram interviews. So if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do connect with me on Instagram. It's at Nakula_does. And I'm going to be interviewing different guys that are bringing all different types of perspectives and thoughts around masculinity, so we can really get an in-depth perception and mindset of what it means to be a man. But definitely, for sure, 100% across the entire manosphere, I guess, is strong, stable. And when your sexual energy is thrown off by pornography, by masturbation, by sexual challenges like erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation, or when you're completely out of control with your sexual energy or your sex life, then ultimately you are not strong and stable. You're not grounded. And that's the first step. Across the board, 100% agreement, strong and stable. So it really hits us right at the root when we don't know how to do this. And that's why it's so important that we talk about this and the different ways that you could protect yourself and some tech that you can use. General Jake, what's going down in your world?
Yeah, I can't believe, as you said, I like the way you started. It's like, if you can't see it, you're blind. I actually can't believe that most people can't see this, what's going on. This attack on masculinity is so clear to me, but instead, many people are being fooled by it, going deeper into illusion and deeper into this very loose, completely feminized new world under the guise of some illusion of advancement. So yeah, it's good that there's people like you around, and then there's other people around who are, fighting back against that and recognizing what's going on, so we can have all the energies nicely working together as they're supposed to. And yeah, man, that's what we're doing in the army, the Semen Retention Army, boy.
That's it, boy. So, guys, let's get into the intro music. We'll set the tone, and then we'll dive right into today's discussion. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and all that kind of good stuff as well. Boom.
Boom.
Well, I didn't press play yet. Where is this thing? There
Boom.
we go.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain.
Yeah. Soldiers retain. And the reason we're
What up,
retaining
soldiers?
is because it is the first thing and probably the most important thing that you can do when it comes to protecting your masculinity. If you work with animals and you want to you want to control an animal, you want to get rid of his animalistic drive, his sexual energy, what do you do to that animal?
What's the word called again?
Castrate. You
Castrate,
castrate
yeah.
that animal. You chop that animal by the balls.
Damn,
When
those are animals.
when
When they're coming in, before they come into their high mating sex drive times.
100%. Are we synced up? Is the sound coming through? I think there might be a delay.
Yeah, but we try.
We try. Absolutely. You cut an animal at its balls when you want to control that animal, when you want to subdue it. And that's what's happening to men right now. We are being systematically subdued in many different ways. We're gonna talk about 5 different ways. The first way is pornography, and we're gonna talk about semen retention. We're gonna come back to that conversation, but let's understand how we're being depleted of our masculinity, because masculinity is an energy, and if I want to deplete an energy, all I need to do is poke holes in its container. Right? Let's say this is I got a plastic water bottle. If I want to leak the water, the energy in this bottle, all I have to do is poke holes at it, and it'll leak out slowly, surely. It might not even notice it's leaking out, which is like the best attack, right? Yeah. It's an attack that's like, was I attacked? No, I don't think so. Maybe. So pornography, the wide distribution of pornography is, in my opinion, it's like the bombs. It's like they're sending pornography out. It's being pushed out. It's being normalized. It's being just pushed in everybody. And I'm saying push because it's literally like universities. There was the University of Montreal wanted to do a study of pornography and the brain, pornography and behavior. They wanted to do a study around pornography use. They could not do the study because there was no control group. They could not find a single student in the entire university who had never seen pornography at least once, meaning everyone's brain has had some impression of pornography. That is never before in history.
Yeah.
And here's what we know about pornography. It twists the mind, literally. It reduces enough pornography use, enough watching porn actually reduces gray brain matter, making it harder to not be so compulsive, harder to stay on track, harder to stay focused. Pornography also rewires yourself to not be a person to go and get sex, but rather to watch it and jerk off to a bunch of other people doing it online.
Becomes more comfortable actually than real interactions.
That's right. You basically trick yourself into saying, I'm tricking my brain to say I'm getting sex and I'm having all these sexual experiences. I'm a sexual superstar in your brain. But in reality, you're sitting there watching two people act on a screen. Now, here's the problem with that. First of all, it creates a dopamine cycle in which you want to watch pornography and go through this whole ritual around it, finding the right video, putting the right video on, whatever your little rituals and habits are leading up to it. Afterwards, maybe definitely feeling depleted of energy. Definitely, most of us that are conscious feel some sort of maybe even guilt, shame, regret. Even if it's nothing like moralistically, it's just like, man, that was a waste of like an hour. I could have probably used that hour to do something more productive, right? Increase my business, increase my income.
Or people are hit with this feeling, oh, it was fake. Actually, you can't fully lie to yourself. You think, oh man, I can't get any real intimacy. You start to feel a bit embarrassed, like, oh, did I just do that by myself?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we think about like the amount of time spent on pornography. You take that half hour, 2 hours, and that whole process ritual, and I'm not even talking about the depletion of energy and recovery time, how it affects you days later. And then if you're doing it every day or a few times a week, that's just compounding negatively in your life. And that's the number one attack right now. the amount of online sexual activity, or it's not even sexual activity, it's mimicked sexual activity.
Well, music videos, and it's not even full porn, but nowadays it's like on steroids from 10, 20 years ago. It was already like,
Totally.
oh, it's basically almost porn, just the music videos influencing you, you know, straight away.
Yeah,
Adverts,
it's like
yeah.
it's one step away, you know?
Mm.
And I could see it's only a matter of time before you get like people that are like, wow, you should just put it on TV, you know? It's just because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
sex
probably.
ed, right? Like that's how
It's
they're pushing
normalized,
it in
yeah.
schools. It's normalized, right? Yeah. You know, they're sending home books with kids about, you know, places, find safe places to masturbate. So that's another. So pornography is definitely the number one attack on masculinity. It drains you of your energy. It makes you more compulsive. It literally reduces gray brain matter if you watch it excessively, or it becomes an addiction, a habit. And you know what? If that's you and you're thinking, I really need to deal with it, send me a message. Reach out to me, connect. We've helped many men through our sexual alchemy and accountability training and programs get rid of pornography, be able to recalibrate their minds. The beauty is the brain heals itself, the body heals itself. So it's not like you're a lost cause, even if you've been watching for years, if you've been jerking off for years. The second attack on masculinity, I believe, is in our foods. You know what? One of the things is like, I want to change. I've been drinking out of a plastic bottle, but I am changing, and I want to go back to the way the yogis would drink out of copper. And so I've been looking at ordering like copper basins and copper water bottles. I have a friend of mine, a yogi friend of mine, and she drinks out of copper water bottles. And yogi's been drinking out of copper for thousands of years because copper takes away the the negative forces. It cleanses the water, and so it's something that I want to look towards. Making changes and adjustments to be living more and more every day in harmony with nature. The way we eat, what time we go to bed, what time we wake up, even from our entertainment perspectives, you know?
Yeah.
Getting back more and more into reality. I like to call it God's creation, you know? Right? It's like, this world is very, very beautiful. And yeah, there's suffering and there's hardships, but overall, this world is quite easy to live in because everything is being done for you. Food is being grown for you. All the materials for shelter are being provided for you. All the materials for advancement in knowledge and spiritual growth is being provided for you. It's everything else we have to work very hard for. And now we're in a situation, society set up in such a way, in which we even have to work for what's free. Food should be free.
Yeah.
Because food is free. It's grow your own food. But in some places they're outlawing it. And I think so. The second place where masculinity is being attacked is in the way that we eat. Because if we fill ourselves, at least in the West, I don't know what it's like in the UK, but over here, people are fat. Very, very fat population over here.
Yeah, we're not as fat, but but still, it's so much processed food. It's hard to, you know, we mainly shop at big supermarkets that are run by big companies, and all the food, even vegetables, don't know where they come from. They've been frozen. They've been, you know, they're processed, and so, you know, it's hard to find organic, fresh things. Actually, here it's very, very hard to own land. It's very hard to own a cow. They make it so hard for you to, well, own land is one thing. I mean, to farm on land, they make it almost impossible because all these big supermarkets, they control all of that, so you can't really do it.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, they've monopolized food. There are companies that own food, and what you can sell, it can't sell, and then they always present it to the public as safety. You can't, it's for your safety. We have to regulate it, make sure it's put through all of our different check marks, and then we can distribute it. But it's not about safety. It's about
so
money
you can't
and
be
control.
self-sustainable.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a society in which we slowly have become more and more dependent on a few people that don't have our best interests in mind. They don't have our spiritual interests in mind. You can tell the center of cities and communities used to be the temple or the church or the synagogue or the place of worship. All around the world, even in ancient cultures, the place of worship was always the center of the community or the city. But now, if you look at our cities, what is at the center of almost every major city, if not every major city? The financial hub, right?
Yeah.
The downtown core is generally where the financial hub is happening. So our cities are built, our consciousnesses are built around the financial aspect of life. Now, for sure that, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, and like in individualism, so like with that temple community thing, like everyone would be together interacting in society, maybe farming together, being self-sufficient together. But now it's like, okay, it's focused on financial, but everyone is like in their individual homes fighting for their own bit of finance from that hub, you know, like so
Yeah.
you're just on your own or with your partner or your family, like, but this, it's not like together in a society. But there's this idea that, oh, it's you know, we're working together somehow, but everyone's on, like on their own, struggling, yeah, to get a little drip from the top, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I love that analogy, and it's like, because it's like we're all struggling to take all from like a little drip, when we don't recognize that the empowerment comes from coming together in real community and real social situations and collaborating with people. So learning to live in cooperation.
Mm.
And it's that skill set that many of us lack because we've grown up in a culture that does promote individualism.
Mm.
And so many of us lack that ability. I would say, like, I'm just reflecting in my own life, thinking that's definitely something that I've had to make a conscious effort to be like, I'm going to get good at relationship and creating harmonious partnerships, whether that's romantic or sexual or business, or, you know, if you want to run a business, like I know, I think Sachi was talking about, next goal is to earn money. Sachi, send me a message, my email, or just go to nikuladas.com and contact me, because you would be perfect for the business development program and training that we're doing inside of our programs, for anybody who wants to get good at business, especially if you want to grow your business online. So anyways, if just you know, I just want to mention that if you want to grow a business, you have to be really good at relationships and managing lots of relationships, because the more customers you have, the more clients you have, the more people that are attending your events or your shows or are buying your product. Well, guess what? The more personalities you're dealing with, the more potential problems, the more, you know, the out of 100 customers, one is going to be upset, you know, like, it's just like you play the odds, right? Are you able and good at life and handling those relationships?
And that's another way that they're stifling us, is by separating us, and this
That's number
another
3.
illusion of individualism. Actually, we're not meant to be independent. So much is made now. There's independent, like actually we're supposed to be interdependent and serving each other, not independent. Sounds good. Oh wow, you see these modern ideas, you can be whatever you want and you're completely independent. It's like, yeah, like how's that turning out years later, you know, when we're all doing it? It doesn't work. We're actually meant to be interdependent, not independent.
Yeah, I love that. Interdependent, not dependent. It's like you're still individually responsible for yourself, and you recognize that you're part of a whole. So it's important. Like I always say, your health is your number one priority, because you are pretty much useless to the whole without good health. And that's why when we have a whole population of unhealthy people, I heard somewhere, and I don't know if it's true or not, that close in America, it's close to 50% is considered obese.
Yeah.
That is wild. I know here, fat people are straight up fat, and I don't care. Oh, fat shaming and all this stuff. No. That's bullshit. What we need to do is call it out as it is, not to hurt, but to inspire.
It's unhealthy.
That's right. It's unhealthy.
And it's quite hard to do as well. I mean, you have to follow some unhealthy patterns for quite a while to become obese. It's actually quite a lot of work, in a weird way. You know, it's just bad patterns, bad habits.
Absolutely.
That's just, yeah.
So we've talked about, to recap, they're trying to normalize obesity. Yeah, absolutely. And there was another comment. There's like, fast food decreased testosterone levels. Absolutely. And think about how much, and those two go hand in hand. Fast food, processed food, obesity. Like the amount that we've just are producing fat kids and fat people as a society should be alarming. If governments and leaders, our so-called leaders, cared about us, they would be talking about these things. There would be frank discussions coming right from the president's office or the prime minister's office or the head of your nation saying, hey, people, we're fat. And that's a problem, because that means it's an unhealthy society. But they're not saying that. What they're trying to do
irony.
is
it's all about
it.
Individualism, blah, blah, but there's no compassion for the individuals, actually. Like, no one actually cares about you.
Yeah, it's your individual right to get as rich as you fucking want, or as, you know what I mean, and just have your own game plan type of thing. And that's because, again, we live in a more godless society where the center of life is no longer the place of worship. There's no community where we go to meet each other.
And that means there's a higher purpose for everyone. So therefore, we share something and a comment. We can interact in service if there's something higher. But if it's just about the individual, then it's like, you know, chaos. Where does that logic lead? You can survival of the fittest. What's that?
Well, yeah, there's, in a way, it kind of leads us, like, in a way, backwards in that sense, right? To like more separation, more problems that we think we were getting over. Let's say, as an example, racism, right? Racism is a problem. Racism has been a problem, but overall, racism in the world, as the world has become more global, is slowly getting better. But the narrative coming out of certain political agendas is that it is horrible. Racism is on the rise, and this, but that is more of a tactic now, because racism is not on the rise. By practical experience, racism, just by osmosis, is slowly being diminished, because more and more of us are naturally living in multicultural societies where we have religions living next to each other and where we have different cultures living next to each other. And so learning to harmonize that and to be in like a good place, that means you have to have inner harmony. But as men, if we don't have any inner harmony, inner peace, and we're always chasing the next piece of ass, or we're always just chasing the next high or buzz, and we're not stable in our life, we're thrown off. We're completely thrown off. I'd say number 4, man. So porn, separation, food. Number 4, entertainment.
Yeah.
I think we're an over entertained society.
Yeah.
We're just constantly entertained.
It can escape reality. You know, life is difficult. Life's uncomfortable. Yeah. But just watch these other people living. See other people living. See other people playing. I have it too, man. Like, I don't really do social media much. I don't do porn, but still, like, my mind's like, I want to watch that show tonight. Like, the mind needs something, you know. Like, you get dragged into that. I want to watch like The Walking Dead or something, like why? I don't know, like some mad show where people are getting like zombies are eating people, but like it's like I really want to watch that right now. It's hard, man. It's attractive to the mind, and again, I mean, it could be balance, a place for it, but it can waste so much time. You can just end up watching hours of this stuff, other people living a fantasy life, you know.
Yeah, I think that there's so I have a theory around the idea of like why we love these shows. Like Sopranos was a big one, Game of Thrones, right? You know, Peaky
That's a
Blinders and
good show.
such. Yeah,
They're
right.
good shows, to be fair. Like, this has to be said, they're
They're
well made.
great. No, they're absolutely well made. They're brilliantly written. Like there's the acting is top notch. Like the qualities the that go behind it, and the talent and the hard work and the energy is just tremendous. So there's no doubt that they're not excellent productions. I think that we're really drawn to them, though, from a psychological level, like, is because we in a way we aspire to have an exciting life, to be thrown, like, to be that alpha male guy, that Tony Soprano who just takes what he wants. That plays to our very, like, raw, deep animalistic emotions, which most people aren't in touch with or in tune with. They try to suppress it. I actually find that religious people the most try to suppress this, because religious people, the whole philosophy is on transcending the animalistic nature into your spiritual, your higher nature, your higher consciousness is what you completely identify with. However, I find that there is a portion of the spiritual journey is about integrating and facing that reality of your rawest carnal self, you know, because that's what porn plays to, and that's what Hollywood dramas play to.
Well, then if you don't do it, you'll get drawn into that, like, and it's similar. Imagining you're having sex in porn is imagining you're Tony Soprano or whatever. Again, it's just imagining, you know. So I forgot what I was going to say. It'll come back when you speak again.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, it is. It's, you're sitting there, you're imagining, like, I know, like, you know, I'm like watching a show, like, you know, Peaky Blinders, and I'm like, yeah, you know, Thomas Shelby, he's the man, right? Like, you know, and there's this adrenaline. Remember, the subconscious mind can't tell the difference between reality and imagination. So to the subconscious mind, your imagination is reality, because the subconscious mind is simply delivering the feeling that the conscious mind is producing. So when you're watching a show, you're consciously, you know, it's entertainment, but the feeling, that's why we love a scary movie. A scary movie is, you know, nothing, you know, there's nothing really there's nothing that's bad's going to happen to you, but you want the experience of being scared, right?
Yeah.
So we're experiential beings, meaning we experience life. That's why these things are so addictive, because in a way we would be experiencing the natural thrills of life if we were still, like, living, you know, more in nature, and if we had to trek or hunt for our food, or gather our food, or even, like, you know, grow crops and take care of the animals, and if we were more in life as opposed to watching life, and, you know. And in this day and age, as a guy who works online, I build my business. We work with men all over the world, you know, inside of our programs and our trainings. And I have to build in nature into my life. Like, it has to be a conscious effort right now, you know, in my life. But over time, it's becoming more and more, it's just lifestyle. But that's like slowly unwinding ourselves from that. And I find entertainment is a big hook back into the matrix mind, because entertainment is, first of all, most of our entertainment is from the matrix mind, and we forgot how to do entertainment naturally, like go to a theater and see real people performing, or sit around a campfire and sing songs together and tell stories, or play a game.
It's like they're your friends, you know, like you're lonely. You flick on this show and you're like, oh no, they killed Beth. No. It's like who don't even, like, it's not even a real person, but you're like, don't kill that character. I like that character. Oh, they survived. I love them. It's like, for a moment you get like a real life experience of having a relationship with someone, but then it's just you, like, in the dark with a screen.
Yeah.
Strange.
And or what's funny is that your real partner's sitting next to you, but they're on their
Yeah.
phone watching something else. They're
Yeah.
they're watching having a whole different experience, you know? So
Yeah.
that's like, so there's a disconnection there, right? Because you guys aren't sharing. Great relationships sharing experiences.
Mm.
Because when you share in experiences, you have a connection, right? Like myself and you, we're building the sexual alchemy movement and promoting semen retention, the semen retention army, and so we have a shared, in our overall life, we have many things going on, but we have a shared experience. That's what makes a relationship. And if we keep that shared experience harmonious and good, that experience goes on. And that's where you can build over time really cool things. And that's the thing. That's why people lack relationship, because we've replaced each other for devices in between each other, which, don't get me wrong, serves a purpose. Like, I love social media. I use social media. You know, we grew a six-figure business on social media, and we're expanding multiple six figures. We're going to 7 and 8, and you know, because of social media. Social media has given everybody an opportunity to jump in the game of entrepreneurship and build wealth and create like never before. So technology can empower you if you're empowered. But if you're not empowered, technology is going to become a source of of enhanced pleasure seeking and detrimental behavior.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a nice rant. All right. Porn, food, separation from each other, entertainment, and the number 5 way that masculinity is being attacked. I call it the cultural attack. Right? This whole wokeism and extreme feminism. I mean, there's some good ideas that live in any movement, in any ideology. And then there's some really just shitty ones. And then there's just downright idiotic, crazy ones. Most of wokeism is idiotic and crazy. And I'm not worried about it because I believe that it'll eat itself, because it stands on absolutely no principles.
No philosophy.
It has no philosophy. It's just however you feel. So they'll eat each other because they'll fight each other about which pronoun is the right pronoun.
It's based on too much emotion, so it won't lead to anything stable.
Yeah. And then and largely part of that is like this I hate the patriarchy. Look, men and women are a reflection of consciousness, consciousness is one split into like man and woman, or feminine and masculine. And so we experience it here in the human platform as men and women in relationships, and we are complementary. The whole of creation is a dance between the masculine or spiritual and the feminine and material. And you just get in a line with that dance. And that dance does not hate one or the other. They're dancing with each other. You know, men and
But it's, as you said in the beginning, we're not in line with that dance because nothing's based around spirituality in our society. So yeah, these kind of things are born. These insane, chaotic theories are born. But as we said, they're not based on any philosophy, and it's through lack of knowledge. No one has even that little bit of knowledge you just shared about masculine and feminine and spiritual and material. Like, I mean, who knows that? Like, so then you're just gonna, if you don't know that, you're gonna just go off in gonna get easily led by some other idea that says you don't have any responsibility. You can just do whatever you want. Life isn't hard. It's easy. Just then you're gonna go, okay, I'll choose that. You know.
Yeah.
And see
Because
how
we're
it
like
goes
kids. In a way, like when we're kids, like we just take the easy way. And many people, we develop those habits
because
young.
you don't have knowledge. A kid
That's right.
doesn't know yet.
Yeah, and I think that once we start to face the harsh realities of life, I know a lot of men, like the guys that come and work with us, especially inside of our sexual alchemy training. I mean, a lot of that training is based on the fact that you developed habits at such a young age and thought patterns at such a young age that you've been seeing and interacting with the world through this lens that is essentially unaligned with nature as a whole. So this whole idea of like men hating women or women hating men, because there's the extremes of both sides. You've got like the extreme feminism movement, which is like destroy the patriarchy. Men are horrible. We don't need them. I can do everything a man can do. It's like, well, great, but why would you want to? Like, why don't you do what a woman could do? Because yeah, you could do everything a man can do. You've just doubled your own workload for life. Like, you know what I mean? So okay, great. Then right, it's just none of it makes sense, right? Then you've got like now men who, in my opinion, are also very like in my opinion, they're like we're the men going their own way type of movement, where it's like we don't need women and women are the problem, and they don't know their roles and blah blah blah. And to me, they're both extreme, because the reality is you're like both really like just upset at each other for not being what you think they should be, and no one is taking responsibility in those movements to say, well, what do we do to come together and make this thing work? Because it's a stupid idea to think that men and women are not complementary or don't go together, when it's not just a human principle. This is a life principle. Every species, including moss, I learned this whole thing about moss. There's female and male moss, and so it's in every species of life, masculine and feminine.
But also even more subtle, masculine and feminine. It's not even always, it doesn't have to be male and female. Like physical forms in the material world, like masculine and feminine energies are principles. Like there's always something that's masculine and feminine compared to each other, and they work just like batteries, you know, like positive and negative. Like things
That's
just
right.
work like that. It's just how the energies of the world work. So to say it's just against nature to say that it doesn't exist. It's not even about male and female. It's just, that's just a manifestation of these two energies and of life energies, how they work together. But we're on the material plane, so we're seeing things like that, male and female, and I want this and you want that, or whatever. It's like just completely materialistic view due to lack of knowledge.
Yeah, man. So culturally, these very woke ideas, these extreme feminist ideas, these ideas of extreme masculinity too. It's the extremes. Everything's so extreme and put in boxes. But most of us are quite like reasonable, like, oh, I see things from both sides, or I'm not so black and white, maybe in certain contexts.
Just quickly, sorry. They're acting like the whole world is on this philosophy. Like, it's not. It's only a few people. They're just pushing it in the mainstream. Like, everyone I've met is like, that's weird. Like, that's ridiculous. I haven't met hardly anyone who's like, who agrees with any of the stuff the mainstream is saying. But if you look on the news, it's like they're acting like this is everywhere, like going on. It's not. Like most people I know are just like I say, just in between, thinking this is weird.
Yeah, totally. They're trying to create it, right? Like they're advertising it, like, and I use the word advertising on purpose because the news is just advertising. And so they advertise a certain agenda or propaganda. And so they're advertising like this is just sweeping across the world, and this is the new progressive philosophy, and trying to create a philosophy that's like everyone can accept or disrupt. I'm not sure.
And only then show things in line with that. You can only so sorry, but all the media outlets will only they'll start showing more shows about it, different campaigns about it, different songs and music videos will be promoting it, and they won't show ones that aren't promoting it and stuff like that. And then it makes you think, oh look, everyone's doing this, but it's just it's being filtered.
It's just being filtered by a few people who have a specific agenda for pushing this type of nonsense. So that's the beauty. The thing is, we're all empowered this day and age with, we've got cell phones and laptops, and we can have so many conversations, and that's the thing. So there is a big pushback. There is a massive pushback happening from all different levels of life, and people speaking up, men, women, and all people who are trans, people who are gay, they're all stepping up and saying, well, this is enough. Like, enough is enough. We understand that there are individual differences in everybody, People express themselves differently. However, spiritually, that's where the conversation we can unite, because spiritually we can all say, yes, even if you're atheist, you can still agree that we all come from nature. You're made of blood and flesh, and so am I. Like, if we get back to some of those very essence, the basics, and be in touch with those basics, then it keeps us stable. It keeps us, because those are principles, and principles don't change. That's why their principles are laws. A real law is not a man-made law that the government can just decide that they've changed it so that we'll just change the rules so the rules fit better to us. And then when we need the rules to change again, we'll just change them again because now they work better in this way, because that's what's happening. So that's why nobody's like, what is the law about that? I don't know. They're just whatever you need that day, you change the law. But a real law is not man-made.
Yeah.
Real laws are universal, or principles, or nature's laws, or God's laws. They're not man-made laws. Man obeys those laws or is punished by those laws. And every religion speaks of this, of these laws. The law of karma being, probably the most evident one, which is spoke about in all traditions. Reap what you sow.
Yeah, I've got a song about it called Law. You actually was talking to me about this, and then I wrote a song called Law. People liked it on TikTok, like explaining, all this stuff.
Yeah,
and
I
as you
remember
say,
that.
I mean, people were really relating to it because no one's talking about it. Is acting like there's no rules to anything. But as you say, if there's principles, and laws to nature, and there's laws to energy, masculine and feminine. That's how it works. You can't just come up with a new one.
You cannot come up with your own shit. And that's like, we need to try to stop like thinking we're smarter than nature. So the cultural war, man, porn, food, separation from each other. As men don't hang out with other men as much. You know what? I was doing a free session with a client and his brother here locally. I do work with guys on Zoom all over the world. This guy's local. Yesterday we did a breathwork session together, and and it was really good. And this guy was talking about his anxiety and some of his stress, some of his worries. And he said, you know what? Just talking about it is a release. I don't really have I don't really talk about it sometimes with my wife. But your wife is not the place to actually go do that shit. It's with your boys. It's actually, men, we're not supposed to be airing ourselves out to our women. We shouldn't burden them with that. We should have men around us where we can talk. And that's the thing. That's that separation. As men, it's so important that you get involved with, that's why we have the support groups, right? That we create. It's a place to connect with like-minded men and have those conversations and air your shit out and talk about your whatever you need to talk about, because you need to do it as a man. You don't bottle it up and then think that that's not going to affect you, right? You have to get rid of it, right? If you have something nasty in your cup, you have to get rid of it before you because if you put nice clear water in it, but you got some nastiness in there, that water's get muddied up, right? That water gets dirtied up. So you have to clean the cup. You have to air out your frustration. You have to talk about those things. But the place to do it is with other men. And in more ancient traditions and cultures, that was built in as part of the process, right? Like the natives would have their spirit walks, and many cultures at, depending 12, 13, 14, 16, there's some kind of coming into manhood. You got to go hunt something. You got to go do some spirit quest. You have to start working and contribute a certain amount of income, right? People aren't doing those things anymore.
No.
And nobody knows, nobody is empowered to do anything. Nobody feels like they can get anything done, You
couldn't do that even if you needed to. And also, because of the community basis is not there. Actually, in the past, there wasn't this big burden on partners, like man and woman, to be everything for each other, solve everything together. It would be like you'd be with the men, talk about men stuff, or the women would be with the women doing their things. Like in communities, it's not all based on you, and you'd interact with different people in the community, men and women, and get all different kinds of influences. like children are raised by the village, for example. Now it's like so much pressure on it, and everyone's just going crazy trying to be individuals. But really, in some ancient cultures that worked very nicely, you wouldn't even spend that much time with your partner, or like it would be like scheduled, like conscious. Oh, we're gonna spend some one-on-one time together, not like every day, all day. Like
The
you'd
men
be
used to
with
be
all,
away, man. Men used to be
yeah,
either at war or hunting parties or
yeah,
working in like the hard labors in the fields or building. But now people spend all, like I spend a lot of time with my wife, and we made it work. I think you can make it work because we've made it
mm,
work. But you are right. What's interesting though is something that I had to consciously create for myself and learn
mm,
was that I had to get good at having friends again. I told Sarah one time, I said to her, doing exactly what I shouldn't be doing, airing my dirty laundry out, like,
mm,
like, and she kind of knows. She's like, why don't you invite, Christian over? Why don't you invite this guy over? And I'm like, you know what? And I'm like always like kind of making excuses and all this stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't really have like friends, that type of thing. But I was like, but that's my fault. And then
mm,
I read like through all my study of masculinity and what makes us motivated and how our psychology works. It's like we need other men. And one of the things that we don't do anymore is hang out, because men,
mm,
we challenge each other. We
mm,
we
mm.
we 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 make each other better. We're able to push each other and speak to each other in a way that's very different to when we speak to women.
Yeah, you can call each other out, hold each other accountable.
Yeah, you could say, step up, bro. I love you, step up, and there's no like, it's like it's just a total different interaction. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's so true.
That
We need community. Oh yeah, go ahead.
that's so true. We need community. Also, a quick question. How does retention affect the ability to heal chronic pain, joints, and inflammation? I know that a long streak should help with this. Thanks, guys.
Mm. Well, first of all, the community part, absolutely. Again, that's one of the reasons that we started. Like when you join the sexual alchemy training, you get into our support group, WhatsApp support groups right away, so that you have community right away. You're plugged in to a conversation that's positive, that's uplifting, that's affirming, and a place where again you can ask these type of questions. And that's what Nakula does, training grounds, and what we're doing here at the Semen Retention Army. And that's what the programs are real. That's what it's all about, man, is men coming together, sharpening each other, making sure that we're growing better and networking, like real networking. Like don't just like connect, build relationships. When you build relationships, you build opportunities for yourself, for service, for impact, and for income.
And sorry, but and talking about it, as you said with your friend the other day, just talking about it can really help. I know that sounds basic, but even with vulnerable things like this, like in this area, like a lot of guys, they hesitate joining just because it's like, I'd just rather keep it to myself. I don't want to talk about that kind of thing. But the minute
Yeah.
you do, trust me, it'll relieve you so much. You own it by talking about it. Guys in the group are just like, hey, man, I want to jerk off right now. Like, it's liberating, man, to say that to someone. And then they don't because,
Yeah.
or sometimes they do, but they don't because they said it to someone and we were like, hey, man, why don't you do this instead? Or, they reached out to someone instead of just being on your own, trying to keep your own pleasures and keep your own little secrets. Like, just, man up, like talk to someone about it. We can help each other improve,
Yeah, man. I think that this idea that men bottle everything up and we don't show emotions or we don't connect, it's just crazy, and it's actually killing us. Like men's suicide rates are higher than women's. Men's loneliness rates, like we're like all up, we're just like eating up OnlyFans and bullshit like this. And there's a bigger problem there. And it's not just lust. It's not just a bunch of men who are lonely. I was talking to one woman, and she said she used to work in like massage parlors, right? And such. And she said that the most guys that came in there, first of all, were married, but she's like, half of them didn't even want like the sexual stuff. They just wanted someone to talk to and just feel like they can just be themselves and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't feel like they could do that at home in their relationships. And so there's a lot of that going on because there's a lack of connection and realness within relationships. So anyways, community is a huge thing. Connect with people, bottom line. And again, come join the army, come join what we're doing. Just reach out to me, connect. We'd love to have you part of it. You know, we've got paid resources and we also have free resources. So just reach out, connect, and we'll hook you up with some stuff. Okay, how does semen retention affect the ability to heal chronic pain, joints, and inflammation? Okay, so semen retention, first of all, as you're retaining for long periods of time and you're recirculating that energy, you obviously have to back it up with a good diet. And you're putting your body into more alkaline state, and a state in which inflammation and disease aren't going to be nurtured. When our body's in an alkaline state, most of our bodies are acidic, right? We're drinking coffee and we're not sweating because we're sitting at at desks all day and eating processed foods and blah 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 blah. We're in an acidic state, and it's only an acidic state. We're stressed out, all those things that makes you acidic. When you're acidic, that's when you are at disease. You're and then you invite sickness and these type of things to happen. So you want to keep yourself in an alkaline state. So how do you keep yourself in an alkaline state? First of all, get good sleep. When you get good sleep, it restores, rebuilds, and re-energizes your body. When you optimize sleep, you optimize your energy. Then protect your body. Protect your body by only putting good foods into your body, and cultivate lots of energy. You cultivate lots of energy by practicing semen retention. As your body gets more and more into an alkaline state and that semen is redistributed, it's going to start to repair the cells. And your body's intelligent. It sends the best stuff to where it needs. So if it needs things in the joints and it's got the materials to use, it's going to use it. So your body will distribute to the places where it needs it most because it's looking to heal and repair itself. You simply have to create the right conditions for it. So semen retention is like it's one of the elements of creating the right conditions. This is going to really help you overall, also improve on your mental strength and mental fortitude, which is also going to give you the willpower and the discipline and the focus to execute all the other habits. So if you need help going down that journey, again, reach out, connect, and we'll get you started in our training. We can hold you accountable to that. So you really, do everything you possibly can to get yourself at peak health. We should all be striving for peak health because health is our greatest wealth. And so semen retention and sexual alchemy is a tool to get you into peak health because it really gets it really increases your ability to control your body and your mind, which is the secret to then making good decisions and choices in your finance, your relationships, your health. You have to be able to override the material lust. And so most of us are going to need like practical tools that we can implement right on the spot daily. And that's what our techniques teach you to do. So make sure that you get equipped for that. If not, it's a long struggle uphill.
Yeah.
Man, we've ranted and raved here for about an hour. At least I've ranted and raved. You're cool and calm.
Nah, I was ranting a bit.
You were ranting a bit. I was ranting a bit. Yeah. But even the way you say that, it's like I say I'm Pac and you're Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, America's Most Wanted.
That's right. That's right. We were going to talk about other things as well, but what I will do is we'll just do a part 2. Let's just do a part 2 next week. So we'll talk more about winning the war on masculinity. So to recap, what we gave you today was the 5 ways that you're being attacked. Now there's more than 5. Write them in the comments, write them in the, chat. Let us know so we can add to the list. And it's good to know, not so that we're focused on it or we're scared. This isn't about, being a victim. Oh my God, and start blaming the government.
Attack.
Yeah, we're under attack, or start blaming it's just be aware. And then we're going to talk next week about different energy practices and techniques you can use to protect your energy, replenish your energy, things that you can implement right away, as well as going on the offense so that if you're being attacked, as if you don't ever go on the offense, eventually they're going to win because you're just trying to hold the wall. You're just trying to and you're just getting crushed because they ain't stopping. So the only way to win is to flip it around and say, now we're going to move forward. And we're going to talk about what that looks like. And at a high level, that's about building movements, businesses, organizations, and leadership. That's about placing conscious men in positions of leadership and creating new institutions, new parallel systems to fight back, but not really by fighting, just by ignoring and creating something better, creating something more attractive, creating something that speaks to the world we want, as opposed to fighting the world we don't want. So we're going to be talking about that next week. Yeah.
That's the great thing, man. We actually have a solution. That's the difference. We're not just complaining and being victims. That's what a lot of these things are. It's just, we don't like those people. We don't like them. But no one has a solution. So, but we're actually promoting a solution here. So stay tuned for part 2. Tupac and Snoop, The Solution.
Tupac and Snoop. That's the new album, Tupac and Snoop, The Solution, coming out next week. All right, guys, make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep leaving comments. The channel is really growing. I appreciate all your support. We appreciate all your support. The Semen Retention Army is growing. More guys are coming through the Sexual Alchemy course. More guys are now learning to build 6- and 7-figure businesses inside of our business development course. So we got the stuff, the education, the support for you to live an awesome life. You just got to reach out so we can start supporting you and helping you. So take the next steps, reach out. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Soldiers retained. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers